Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm bringing you something very cool. This is the new Volkswagen Golf 1.4 TSI with the R-Line Plus package. Now, this is a bit of an occasion for me because I've never driven a Golf. So this is the very first Golf that is going to be christening Shane Assad. That sounds very wrong, I know that. But what I'm trying to say is that after driving this, I get it now. I get why the Golf is the be-all and end-all of practical hot hatches, perfect family car. It does just about everything. And I know that we are in the day and age of crossover SUVs and small SUVs and things like that. But to me, this still makes sense. God, this is so fun to drive, even though this is the 1.4 TSI. But thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm Shane Assad, and this is the new Golf 8.5. So if you watch any of my videos, you know I like to get aesthetics out of the way first. So the way the car looks, pretty damn good in this case. So this is the R-Line Plus package. So just at a glimpse, the front of this car does look like the new Golf R, and this thing has gotten so much attention. I'm so actually surprised and shocked how much of a cult following this car has. As I mentioned, it's the first Golf I've ever driven, so I've never really experienced it. But we do have the new LED light bar that goes the whole way across. We have these awesome daytime running lights. And the VW badge does light up as well, only at night. I just have it on to show you, obviously. We obviously have this enormous grille up front to allow air to go through the radiator. Then over here, we have a front camera, because this does have a 360-degree camera system. And here, I think this is covered up, but this has got to do with the laser with regards to your adaptive cruise control, your emergency braking, and all of the ADAS systems. But the fact that this has adaptive cruise control, super impressive, especially for a hatch. So just a quick glimpse at the side profile. Of course, it's typically Golf, but because it's the 8th generation, it's the 8.5, it's facelift. We do have a lot of nice jagged lines here and there. They have put the R badge on the front and the sides just to remind you that this does have that little bit of spice to it. The wheels are 18-inch with low-profile tires. This wheel design, on the other hand, it's throwing people off because I've had a lot of people ask about the car, and this car has gotten me so much attention, but it sparked a lot of conversation, especially these wheels. People asking me, is this an electric Golf? What is this? They do give the EV vibes, but it's just the wheel design. But one last thing, the color of this car. I wasn't too sure initially, but I do actually quite like it now. It's growing on me quite a lot. It's called Anemone Blue. At night, this is something else. It's just beautiful, gives off a completely different vibe, and I'm quite a fan of it. Now, as I step further back, you can of course see we do obviously still have our sunroof. It's a Golf, it has to have a sunroof. Now, the rear of the 8.5, now this is what you'll see by what I mean. It looks like a Golf R from the front, but from the rear, we're completely lacking the quad tailpipes. Now, I'm quite a fan of this design because Volkswagen aren't putting fake exhaust tips. So thank you very much, Volkswagen. I really appreciate it. And what I understand is that, look, this mustn't distract from the GTI or the Golf R. It mustn't at all. So the fact that the exhaust is hidden away and we just have this plain bumper, I don't mind, looks good. It is a 1.4 TSI at the end of the day. There's no point in trying to make it look like a GTI when we still have the GTI. By the way, the new 8.5 GTI should be landing soon. As you can see, we do have a new rear light design. The welcome sequence to this is beautiful. I'm very impressed. And of course, we have the typical boot lid. Now, one thing I learned recently is that what most people do when they open the boot lid is they put their thumb up and they use the badge as leverage. Apparently, that's actually very wrong. What you should do instead is put your hand in as a cup, kind of push it forward and lift the boot itself. Don't put the pressure on the badge. It's kind of unnecessary. You could damage it and it could cost you quite a bit of money. But that's the rear. It looks beautiful, it's simple, and I really like this car. So now the interior of the new 8.5, and it's quite refreshing. It's literally like a breath of fresh air. Now, what I will say is, I thought initially, look, oh no, VW have fallen in for the trap of having an enormous infotainment screen. But what I will add is this is extremely intuitive. It has a very good Apple CarPlay system. It does connect wirelessly, and it's very user-friendly. So this for me is easily, I think, probably one of the best interfaces I've used this year. And I've been in a lot of different cars this year. So that's quite impressive. In front, we of course do have the digital driver's cockpit. There are two main digital dials which you can customize. You can change all the different information. Now, one of the biggest changes is the fact that on the steering wheel, it is multifunction, but they have reverted back to actual buttons because they used to have the haptic feedback buttons, and those are quite a pain in the ass, pardon my French. Now, as I mentioned, I haven't driven other VW Golfs. So yes, I haven't experienced those in a VW, but I have experienced them in Mercedes. Mercedes still do have them with the C-Class, the S-Class, the E-Class, and all of that. So what I can tell you is the fact that these are buttons, it's a huge step forward. I think it's fantastic that VW actually changed it. They acknowledged the fact that, look, I think they even said it themselves. The car is not a smartphone, it is a car. So thank you for putting buttons. It makes life a hell of a lot easier. The physical steering wheel itself feels great. It is wrapped in leather, obviously. What I did notice is the shape of it. We have our traditional, well, for me, a traditional 10 and 2 hand position. But then when you are sitting more relaxed in traffic, it has these notches on the side. So it kind of provides an extra point for you to kind of grip and just cruise along in traffic when you are really bumper to bumper. Now, in terms of extras, pardon me if I run out of breath here, but this car has everything. So besides the sunroof, which it has to come with, it's a Golf. So the seats are heated, they're ventilated. The driver's seat is also electric and offers a lumbar support, so that makes quite a difference. The seats do hug you quite nicely as well. It's a little bit of a bucket seat design. I'm quite a big fan. It's really cool. So in terms of the physical driving, we do have adaptive cruise control, number one. Of course, it comes with all of your standard ADAS systems. So you have your lane keep assist, which you can turn off. You have your emergency braking, your front collision warning systems, your rear collision warning systems, just to warn you if you're reversing out of a parking spot and a car is kind of crossing your way. The car will beep and just tell you to stop. It does also have a blind spot monitoring system, which is incredibly useful. And it does also have not only automatic high beam headlights, it also has adaptive high beam headlights, which means that as you were driving and an oncoming car is coming, of course, in your direction, it will dip the headlights for that oncoming car so they don't get blinded, and you can still see what's happening in front of you for quite some distance. So that's quite a big thing I've picked up on this. For a Golf, for me personally speaking, that's huge. It's so well spec'd. Another thing is, so there are still a few touch-sensitive haptic feedback buttons here and there. So for example, to control the sunroof, it's touch-sensitive, but that's not a problem. That is the same in an S-Class Mercedes. So that I don't have a problem with. There are a few controls over here. So to change your driving mode, your climate, your assist systems, and menu, they are touch sensitive on the other end. But as I mentioned, the screen and the infotainment system is incredibly user-friendly. So it all works pretty well. No issue with that at all. The aircon in this thing is great. As we move further down, we have 2 USB-C ports, followed by a wireless cell phone charger, which does have a vent to cool it so it doesn't kind of overheat. That does help quite a lot. As we move further along, we do have our push start engine button. As I mentioned, we do have an 8-speed Tiptronic gearbox. Now, I know a lot of people aren't a fan of the fact that the gear lever is officially about this big. To be honest, I'm not too worried. Guys, this is a Golf, number one. Number two, it's not a manual. If this was a manual car and it was that big, yeah, then we could have a problem. You know, what the hell were they smoking? But it's small. And the fact that it's a 1.4 TSI and it's that small doesn't faze me. It kind of frees up space and makes the car more ergonomic. It just kind of makes sense for this. It works. We have an e-brake, so electronic park brake, and we have a bit of a space here to put your cell phone. And yeah, it just makes sense. When your cell phone's not charging, it could be there, or it could be in the relatively large center console. And another thing is that this does move back and forward to obviously extend as an armrest. Coffee, now there are cup holders. There are 2 cup holders over here. What I do like quite a lot is this is quite a large open space. So if you do have some keys or a big cell phone or whatever you need to put here, you can. But if you just want to put your coffee, you put it down and there's a button you push that kind of just holds it in place quite gently. Works well. I think the only other extra that this car doesn't have is heads-up display. That is how well spec'd this car is. Now, of course, this is full spec, so I can show you everything that the Golf does come with. But it's just insane. That's probably the only thing it needs. Another thing, sound system. This has a Harman Kardon sound system, so you can get one with a banging sound system with your sunroof open and enjoy the drive. I just love this. I'm kind of understanding now. Another thing, this car is very low. So to get in and out of it, you do get used to it a little bit, But I'm quite a fan. I like it quite a lot. It reminds you of what a hatchback is, because I know hatchbacks these days, you hop into like a Suzuki Swift, it's a hatch, but it's such a big car. You hop into this and you're reminded, guys, it's a hatch. It's low to the ground. It's supposed to be fun. And that's what this is. So now the rear of the 8.5. Now, what you're probably thinking is, Shane, that looks pretty cramped. And to be honest, it actually isn't that bad. So firstly, you might think it looks pretty cramped. And I think it's probably because these seats are just so chunky and comfortable. Now, what I will add is I'm 5'7", and this is my driving position. Now, I drive in a bit of like a racing driver seating position. So I like sitting slightly close up front, quite low down, my arms positioned like a 90-degree angle. So I understand what the car is doing and I understand how the car feels. So this isn't too bad. So in front of me, let's start with the standard things. We do have two little pockets here to, of course, store things. So a wallet, a cell phone. We have another storage compartment on either side just for storing some extras. As I open this, we have our center armrest with two cup holders, so just your standard niceties. But in terms of the actual seat itself, it's really not bad. I'm quite a fan. This is actually pretty comfortable. Yeah, it could probably recline a bit back. That could help a little bit, but it's really, really not that bad. I'm quite a fan, and I do like the two-tone seat. So it's a bit of a dark gray with a light gray. It just works for me. It just works very well. And in terms of technology in the back, we do have two USB-C ports. So thank you to Volkswagen for actually keeping up to date with things and putting USB-C ports. I'm not saying that because you don't keep up to date with it. I'm saying that because a lot of other manufacturers don't keep up to date with it. So that makes a difference. Now, the reason why that makes a difference is if you have two kids or two toddlers or whatever the case is, and their iPads die and you're on like an 8-hour road trip, you don't want to have to deal with yelling and screaming. Those make a difference because all iPhones and iPads and all these phones these days come with USB-C charging cables. So that means everything can stay charged and you can stay happy. Now guys, let's not forget, it is a Golf. A Golf is still supposed to be practical. So if I open the boot up, what you'll see is it's actually quite big. It's decent enough. I am going to go away to get a unit measurement for you. So this is just my camera bag. It's not really a good way to show you, but I think a cooler box is the optimal way to show you. So I'll do that for future videos. But the boot has a capacity of 341 liters. And with the rear seats down, it goes up to 1,200 liters. But check this out. Here's another little nifty thing I found out. It actually has a tow bar. That's pretty cool. And that just reminds you why the Golf is the perfect hatchback at the end of the day. So now the heart of the Golf 8.5. Now, this being the 1.4 TSI, it is what you think it is. It is the same engine that they put in the Audi A3. Now, reason being, of course, VW is part of VW Group and they own Audi. If you didn't know that, you live under a rock. What I will say, now this being the same engine in the A3 TFSI, here they just call it TSI. It's a 1.4 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder petrol engine. It is an inline 4. It produces 110 kilowatts as well as 250 Newton meters of torque, and there's actually quite a lot just for this car. You don't need more than that. If you are looking at a GTI or an R, it's a different conversation, but it's a different engine there as well. What I will add is fuel consumption figures. Now, if you drive spiritedly, yeah, it's not going to be very light. It's just kind of standard equation, simple math. If you drive with your foot flat, no car is going to be light on fuel. But if you drive very economically in eco mode, you do enjoy the ventilated seats and the aircon now and again. It's really not a problem. You have the sunroof open, it's quite chilled. You can average like 6.6, 6.4 liters per 100 kilometers. That's the lowest I got. And that's in city driving, that's no highway driving. So I'm pretty sure that if you did that on the highway, you could get even less. But I was quite impressed with this engine. Now guys, I do just want to say, if you have gotten this far in the video, thank you so much. I do really appreciate it. But please do me a solid and hit the subscribe button. It makes a huge difference to me and the channel, and it allows me to get more pretty cool press cars like this and go to really awesome events to show you what's happening in the automotive world. It's here in South Africa and globally as well. So don't forget, hit the subscribe button below and give me a thumbs up. And share the video with a friend or just a fellow VW lover. So driving impressions of the Golf 8.5 1.4 TSI. I'm gonna do the fun stuff first. So what I will say is, if I tackle a few corners in sport mode, I mean, this car handles like nothing I've experienced, especially from a front wheel drive car. It is just, it's like a dart. It's absolutely laser focused. It does whatever you want it to do. I'm floored by how agile and accurate the steering is. I really am. In terms of weight distribution, it's not bad. I mean, it is a front-wheel drive hatch, so you do feel it a little bit where you go around a corner. And I'm not even going to say too quickly because the car will still make the turn. That's how good the handling is. But you do feel like the rear opposite wheel does just want to lift. It does just want to do that thing that a dog will do. It'll lift its leg just that little bit. But even if I tackle this corner, it just grips. It just grips. It floors me. Okay, fun stuff out of the way. So in terms of everyday driving, look, living with the Golf has actually been incredibly nice because the car does just about everything the right way. So it fits in my garage quite comfortably because it's a hatch. There's a lot of space to walk around the car. What I do find is that when you have a big SUV, it takes up a lot of space, and more often than not, you can't open the boot. There's space front, rear, and each of the sides, and you can open the boot. So just in terms of size, it really packs a punch. Practicality, once again, as practical as can be. Now, in terms of comfort, what I will say is, for some reason for the past week or so, I've been having some lower back pain, but the lumbar support in this car really helps with getting rid of or alleviating some of that pain. But the car handles incredibly well. The ride quality is really not that bad. So of course you don't have adaptive dampers or any of that special fancy stuff. Here, this is just standard suspension. It's actually really good. But what I do like is it's not too soft, so you can still feel what the surface of the road is doing. And you can feel how the tires are contacting the ground. You can feel all those nits and bits just to kind of understand what's going on with the car and its environment, number one. Number two, engine. It is pretty responsive. Yeah, there is a smudge, like a real smudge of turbo lag, but it's still very responsive. And don't forget, you do have paddle shifters in this car. So if you wanted to, you could just downshift a gear or two, put your foot down, and away you go. Now, this is an 8-speed Tiptronic gearbox. It's actually pretty good. What I will say is no, 8 gears is not too much. 8 gears is just right because it does help with the fuel consumption of the car at the end of the day. And it actually makes the drive incredibly smooth because the gearbox is flawless, absolutely flawless. It doesn't hesitate when it comes to deciding what gear to be in, especially when you put your foot down. It's not trying to figure out what to do, it just knows what to do and it gets the job done incredibly well. The sound system in the car is very good. I'm quite impressed. What I will say is, I don't know why, but I thought there would be more bass or something, but I'm finding it depends on the song, because some songs are incredibly bassy and some of them aren't at all. But in terms of your brakes are incredibly good as well. At the end of the day, guys, this is coming from a company that has been producing some of the world's greatest cars. And I will mention the GTI because the GTI is kind of the Hall of Famer. It is the North Star, it is the Southern Cross. The GTI is the benchmark to which all hot hatches are measured to. End of story, period, close the book, that is what it is. Now, this isn't a GTI, but it is built on the same platform. Now, in terms of chassis feel, it is really good. The handling is phenomenal, as you just saw. But one thing I'm finding is, yes, I haven't driven the GTI just yet. I'm hoping to drive it soon. This amount of power in this car is great because it means that when you really want to go for a nice Sunday drive and you want to have some spirit to driving, you can put your right foot flat and drive on the limit most of the damn time. And it's that old adage, you know, anyone can drive a fast car, but not everyone can drive a car fast. Sometimes you have more fun driving a car with a smaller engine on the limit than a car with a big engine slowly. And it's just the way it is. This is pretty cool. If you're doing everyday traffic driving and you don't need a hot hatch, 1.4 TSI, mwah, beautiful, it's fantastic. I would highly recommend it. At the end of the day, this engine is tried and tested. They do use it in the A3, and they have been using it for a very long time. So they've sorted out all the kind of small issues that it would have had already. So it's very refined. And another thing that I'm really impressed by, and don't forget, this is probably the first proper VW product I've had from VW to test. The first VW I had was the Polo Vivo, and that was cool. It was okay. I kind of understood the gist of it. It's the backbone of the South African economy and in many different economies because it's the people's car. This, on the other hand, is my first proper taste of Volkswagen Das Auto because this is a German hatch. You really do feel the fact that this is a German car through and through. And God, am I in love with it. I really, really am. VW, you guys have done an awesome job with this thing. Thoroughly awesome job. My only critique, if I really have to thoroughly think of a proper critique now, it's quite a tough one. I'm not even going to say the fact that there's plastic, because there really is very little plastic. There's quite a few soft touch materials on the car. And at the end of the day, the price point for this exact model is 688,000 Rand. So you can't complain either. I think perhaps if there was like some R-line graphics here and there to signify that this is an R-line, but I suppose that's just a software thing. I don't actually know. I think my only critique is the fact that the passenger seat, front seat, is not electric. I think that's probably my only critique. I could probably do with lumbar support as well. But that's just about it, actually. VW have thoroughly outdone themselves. Thoroughly outdone themselves. My overall verdict of this, if you have the money of 688,000 Rand, and you're not interested in buying an SUV or a Chinese car or a Chinese SUV as they are flooding the market at the moment, and you want something that is German, you are a VW fan, this is definitely something to look at. But as always, I always vouch for a test drive. Go test drive one. You will not be disappointed. One thing I will say is, yes, it is capable of a fuel consumption of about 6.7 liters per 100 kilometers, but do note you do have to drive in eco mode and with a very light foot, and do a relative amount of lift and coasting. So don't forget that. So don't think you can hop in the car, drive it in comfort mode, floor it where you want to, and get a good fuel consumption. It's not gonna happen. Would I recommend this? Hell yes, 100%. This is a true awesome driver's hatch, but it doubles up as a practical family car. And I say family car because why do you need an SUV? You don't always need an SUV. You need an SUV when you're going off-road. SUVs have just kind of taken the world by storm. This reminds you of what is still possible with a hatch. At the end of the day, 100% I would recommend this, definitely. But guys, if you got this far in the video, I do really just want to say thank you so much for watching. If you could do me a solid, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as well, share this video with a friend, a fellow VW fan, someone who really likes the R and wants to see what the new 8.5 R line looks like. I would really appreciate it. But at the end of the day, guys, drive safe, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.